And I'm joined now by another real hero. It is, of course, our sports editor, Derrick Lynch, who's looking around. Oh, is there someone standing behind me? Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well. We are looking ahead, starting off with Clare's latest Hurling League Division 1B clash, and Brian Lohan and his side will be looking to continue their good run following their wins over Dublin and Antrim, and they'll be looking to add the name or the scalp of Down to the victories. They're the visitors to Zimmer, Biomet, Pairc, Chíosóg on Sunday. A game, incidentally, you can hear live on Clare FM, throw in on Sunday from 1:30. But when yourself and Tommy were on Tuesday to look back over the win in Antrim, we did speak about Down, who are certainly no mugs. They were very, very close to beating Wexford. They'll feel aggrieved at the two late points that saw them lose out. So they'll present, despite home advantage for Clare, I suspect, Derrick, you think they'll present a stiffer challenge.
Which is why I expect a strong team to be named tonight. Now, there will be two injury-enforced changes in defence, because obviously John Keneally and Rory Hayes went off in Antrim the last day, so there will be two switches there. Now, whether that's a case of we see David McInerney for the first time this year, Ross Hayes came on the last day, does he start again? So I think, no matter who comes in, it certainly won't be weakening the back line. And given the fact it's at home as well, I think Brian and the lads will be eager to put on another really strong display. So I don't expect wholesale changes, and I don't think they'll do that until maybe you're looking at a case of qualification almost secured for 1B, because I don't think Clare are in a position where you can take anything for granted either. And after this, there's a sticky little trip to Cratloe, there's a sticky little trip to Kildare. So, and again, you're trying to build minutes. It's all well and good a fella going flying it in the first couple of games, but then if you wrap him up until the next big game, as we'll call it, how much does form carry through? And you can't beat winning, and they have a break after this anyway. So I expect, for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, I think they'll be well pre-warned by that performance Down put on against Wexford. Albeit the Wexford form, if you think about it from the point of view that they were very, very lucky to beat Antrim, and then Clare beat Antrim relatively comfortably the last day. So maybe does that beg the question, where are Wexford at? But from a Clare point of view, all they'll be worried about is Down. In Ronan Sheehan, they have a fantastic hurling man with strong Cork links over them, based up there around the Newry Shamrocks area, and he'll know Clare hurling inside out. And Down have made great progress in recent seasons, and you can't beat that either. And in a lot of ways, they're coming down with a free shot here. They can have a right go at Clare. It's almost the kind of game that if Clare win it by 30 points, everyone will say, sure, what else was going to happen? If Clare win it by 3 points, people are going to be asking questions.
Underwhelming. This is the danger here.
It's a tricky one in how it'll be analysed after it, but I think the lads won't mind really. Once they get the 2 points on the board and go 6 from 6 with 3 to play, you're nearly guaranteed a final then. So, it'll be an interesting one.
I'm wondering, Derrick, from the perspective of the fans, be they attending the home games or travelling away, whether they're up in Cushendall or they'll be at some of the other away fixtures, but also for the likes of yourself and Sil and Tommy working in the world of sport, whether, nobody wants their county to be relegated, but has it presented, it's like, if a team is relegated from the Premier League, to say, well, at least we're going to see them winning some games in the Championship. Is this interesting for you? Because you're getting to see Clare go play teams they wouldn't normally play. They're going to grounds they might not normally go to. But also, they were presented with a very stiff challenge by Dublin, not by Antrim, but we expect one from Down. And as you said, we tricky away games against Cratloe and Kildare. Hardly none of these fixtures have been gimmies, and there's a kind of variety to all of it as well.
Yeah.
And a newness.
Yeah, there is, of course, but I suppose from a management point of view, they'll look at it and say that they can plot their way through it. They can plot a course and say, okay, let's have 6 or 7 established players in with 8 or 9 younger fellas for this game, and then, I would imagine the Wexford game at home in the last game, with hopefully a league final place secured, you'd be saying, right, and we got the dates and times and all that for the Munster Championship this morning, 19th of April, Clare and Waterford here in Zimmer, Biomet, Pairc, Chíosóg at 2 o'clock. So if you have Wexford at home, a league final and a 2-week break to that, beautiful run into it, so that'll be in the back of their heads now as well. But also, I'd be a bit of an anorak listening through the podcast circuit there, when reviews and stuff like that come out during the week, and they're hardly even mentioning Clare. You're getting the customary.
They're off Broadway, sure.
Exactly, and that's fine. But I think that's great insofar as that the lads can, they'll get their couple of minutes on the Sunday game and stuff like that, and the likes of Dalo will mention it and all that kind of thing. But by and large, the focus is on 1A. and every game in 1A is dog eat dog. I mean, you look at this weekend, right? Tip and Cork. Pairc is going to be almost sold out.
25,000 they're saying at least will be at it. Yeah.
For a league game. And that's where all the focus and hype and attention will be, whereas Clare can go and get their work done here. I think it's the perfect kind of a game as well to keep Mark Rodgers on it, because Mark is becoming he has become the free taker now within this team. You don't want to go changing that. You want him having as much practice at that as possible, and all these little different nuances that they're trying within the team, Colm Malone at wing back, that sort of thing. So that can all be done away in the quiet, so to speak. Okay, we'll talk about it and we'll analyse it, but in a national sense, Clare can kind of come in under the radar a little bit in April, and depending on how Waterford work out, good win for them the last day, what will their situation be by the time April 19th comes around? So I think there's a lot to like about it. There was always a sense of rebuilding in a strange sense this year, because we spoke about this in January. Like, you had all those players last year, the Dermot Ryan, Tony Kelly, these guys that have been carrying injuries, and then you had all the fellas that were blooded to the senior team last year. You know, Jack O'Neill, probably one of those, Dermot Stritch, those kind of guys. And now here you are trying to meld them all together. For me, Division 1B is the perfect place, rather than this big hullabaloo every week in Division 1A. That's what you want to get back to, but I just think for the particular point of the cycle this team is on, I think 1B is perfect.
Okay, well, we will be reviewing the game next Monday, but of course you can hear it live here on Clare FM on Sunday afternoon, 1:30 throw-in again, just to mention that. We'll move on to the soccer. Newmarket Celtic and Munster Junior Cup quarter-final action. Standing in the way is Hibernians. That game in Waterford, that's also Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock kick-off. How do you think they're set, or what do you think their prospects are of advancing to the last four?
Yeah, there's an interesting dynamic in this one, because I think Waterford actually switched to the summer soccer, so in effect Hibernian are in their off season, so how much they'll have done, how much game practice they'll have had, I think that'll all feed into it from a market perspective, who are going quite well. You know, there was all this talk again of a team in transition, but like David McCarthy's still scoring, Owen Hayes is still scoring, you know, and they've got the likes of Harvey Cullen and Tyke Noonan and these guys, so I think they're really, really well set. Again, they're kind of coming under the radar a little bit. There is a very distinct top four emerging in the Premier Division of the Clare League, and Newmarket are heading that up. You've got themselves the Bridge, Avenue and Tulla, who are kind of fighting it out for what will be a brilliant conclusion to the domestic race. But I think this is a real itch to scratch for Newmarket. They've obviously won multiple Clare Cup and Premier Division titles. They've got their FAI Junior Cup. I think the provincial one is the one that they'll really be after, so this is a huge step towards that. Tricky little trip on the road to Waterford, but I do think just because of those factors, a little bit more match practice and maybe a little bit more knowledge of their squad depth could be key in this one. Okay, some fixtures in the second round of the Ennis Carpets Clare Cup, and Derrick, we're going to talk about a derby, or I suppose an intra-derby, because it's happening within the club. The what should be an intriguing game, Avenue United's A side going up against Avenue United B on Sunday morning. You know, on the face of you go, but sure, look, if they're the A side and they're the B side, there's only one outcome of this. But you know, I'm thinking, Derrick, if I was playing on the B team, and I wasn't even good, I played on a C team, I would be really going all out here to show I'm as good as these guys, if not better. I should be on that A team. Yeah, or is it like the JP McManus horses in the Grand National, where the fellow with the white helmet is the favourite and everybody else is the pace? It's like the Formula 1, the two drivers from the same team. If this fella's coming up behind you, he's our main driver, let him pass. Yeah, Schumacher and Barrichello all those years ago. But no, you're right. I think that there will be, and again, as I talk about the season rattling towards its conclusion now, and a B team player will be saying, yeah, look, I want to be involved in this, I want to be playing the cup games, I want to be playing the league games, I want to be involved in all this stuff. So they can take on a life of their own in a lot of ways, and I think it'll draw a huge crowd to Roslevan for that intrigue factor alone. Now, we saw it last week with Newmarket Celtic A and B. It was I think 5-1 to the A side for a finish, so there was a little bit of put you back in your box about that, so it'll be an intriguing, but it doesn't happen all that often. We did have a cup final a couple of years ago, of course, between Newmarket Celtic A and B, but they're certainly intriguing games, that's for sure. What a great cup final. You could, whatever the outcome, you're guaranteed the trophy's going to make its way back to the Newmarket Celtic clubhouse. Right, Bunratty, Cratloe entertaining Bridge United as well in the second round. Yeah, you'd imagine Bridge, with I suppose the more experience at the top level should see them through there, but again, the derby element, that's certainly one to watch out for. Okay, and Ennis Rugby Club in the Women's Rugby AIL Division 1, of course, fantastic that they are a part of it. We spoke about that when they ahead of their inaugural campaign, and doing well in the sense that they've gotten wins on the board, they got a draw on the board, they're in 7th place in the table. You would have expected, given it's their inaugural campaign, they're going to come up against
the level of opposition they haven't come up against before. There will be maybe a sticky patch in the season, and I guess you could say they're in that at the moment. They're going to be playing Cooke. Their last win came on the 15th of November against the same side, a 3-point win back in mid-November. It's been a tough old run since then, a number of defeats, some heavy, and a draw as well. As I say, you're going to expect that. I guess it's how Garth O'Hanlon's side bounce back from that now and try and get another win on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think anybody that was wondering what would season one look like, they're probably consolidated as things stand. They have enough points on the board, I think, and wins on head to head and stuff like that I don't think relegation or scrapping for your life.
They're well away from that last spot.
They're in that comfortable spot. So they're in, I suppose, a more development phase now. There's a very distinct top four in that women's AIL with the likes of Galwegians and I suppose Bowes leading the pack and all the rest of it. So, competing with them is always going to be difficult when you're making that step up from being at the lower levels, at the grassroots. Now you're in with the big dogs in a big league. You're talking playing against Irish internationals here, like in our own two in Aoife Corey and Alana McInerney and those playing with Bowes. So that's a tough level to get to. But as you said, you've got the Dublin teams then who are very, very strong at this level, and the three, as we'll hear, actually spoke to Michaela Glynn during the week. You can hear the full interview this evening on Sideline View. But she was saying that the 3 games before Christmas are mirror of the 3 games after Christmas, and they always knew that was going to be a very tough period, albeit they got their point against Old Belvedere in that 24-all draw. So going away to Belfast again, it seems like we're talking about that every week the last couple of weeks for whatever code it is between Newry, Cushendall and Belfast. Now we've been up and down that road, but it'll be tough. But again, as I say, it's also attritional. You have to remember they're playing an 18-game league. They probably didn't play 8 games all last year in a lot of ways, so it's hard to keep that going. So that means a high turnover in the squad. That means, particularly in rugby when it's so set piece driven, that's people getting used to their place within a system and developing all that. So look, we wish them the best of luck on it. As you said, their last win against Cooke was here in Ennis as well, so hopefully they can replicate that on the road.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that. As you mentioned, Michaela Glynn on Sideline View, I'm sure preview not just that game, Clare down, and much more besides.
Yeah, it certainly is. We're going to have a discussion this evening on off the back of, I suppose, a piece that appeared on the Clare District Soccer League Facebook page there in the last couple of weeks, just talking about facilities, I suppose, within the county and where things stand with clubs and how things can be improved and what might be needed and all that. So going to have a little chat tonight with 3 men that know more than most in that sense: Jim Madden, Adrian Walsh and Dennis Curry out in Tulla as well. So and news during the week as well that a club that's very close to Adrian Walsh's heart, he managed them for long enough, Lifford, informing the league that they couldn't complete the rest of their games in this year's Premier Division because of players that had transferred out and injuries. They said they just didn't have enough players to continue on. So where does that all stand in the context of the game at large in the county? So we'll have a chat about that. And as you say, Michaela will be on. I'll be chatting to the Down manager as well, Ronan Sheehan, getting his thoughts, I suppose, on the work that's going on. We talk about Clare being off Broadway this year. In the national sense, the Downs and Longfords and Roscommons of the world are certainly off Broadway, so good to shine a light on that as well ahead of their trip down. And of course the Camogie Club All-Stars Awards are taking place this weekend, tomorrow night at Hotel Woodstock, so we'll hear more about that and a few other bits as well.
Okay, brilliant stuff, Derrick. So make sure you check out Sideline View, the live game, Clare and Down on Sunday, and we'll chat with Derrick and the lads on Monday to reflect on the weekend in sport.